Welcome to the Confident Motherhood Podcast. I'm your host, Anne, mama of two, holistic pregnancy and pediatric sleep consultant, and the founder of Empowered Decisions. In our seasons together, I'm here to help you step into your inner confidence from pregnancy to motherhood. Whether you are preparing to meet your baby or integrating into new mom life, this is a safe space with education and support for your journey. Join me as we raise the vibe of our motherhood collective. Welcome back to the Confident Motherhood Podcast. Hi, I'm Anne, your holistic pregnancy and infant and toddler sleep coach. And tonight we're talking about prenatal visits and your preparation as you are having these checkpoints throughout your pregnancy journey and as you prepare for birth. Now, as I was thinking about this episode, I just can't stress enough how silly it sounds to say like, okay, why are we talking about prenatal visits? This is such a routine thing that we experience, whether you're doing a prenatal visit with your OB or your midwives or your team, right? But this is an underrated topic because of the impact that you preparing going into these visits can have on your pregnancy experience and on your energy and your mindset. So let's just kind of kick off and just dive right in. So, and I also have a prenatal visit kind of like prep form if you are starting to feel like, what should I be preparing for going into these visits? But we're going to talk about it anyways. Oftentimes, when we go into prenatal visits and we have one coming up, right? Let's say you have one coming up next week or whatever the case may be. The frequency of your prenatal visits gets more frequent as you're nearing the end of your pregnancy. In the beginning, they're spaced out further. But as you are in between your prenatal visits, we are experiencing things, right? So there is emotions that are going on, whether you're having easy time and not so easy time. There's questions that are coming up. There's things that we're thinking about. And this happens in between visits. I don't care if you have 4 weeks or 6 weeks in between a visit, or you have 1 to 2 weeks in between a visit. And oftentimes we head into those appointments with these thoughts and feelings and questions. We do not always ask them, and we do not always leave those visits feeling like our questions were answered and we now have the assurance and we have the next steps and the plans. Now, this idea of preparing for your prenatal visits and making sure that you're doing these steps is a part of taking ownership and taking control of your journey and what you want your pregnancy experience to look like. Now, when we go into those visits, especially if you are on the OB side, sometimes you get 10 or 15 minutes with your OB, right? It's busy. There's lots of things happening. And sometimes we just don't get those questions answered because we feel rushed, or we get in there and then all of a sudden our mind is blank and we're like, well, we did have questions, but now I don't remember what they were. And whether these are notes in your phone or you're bringing in a little notepad, or it's literally on a prenatal prep visit, form that I have, it's really important, whether you have 10 to 15 minutes or you have 30 minutes to an hour with your midwife, that you're having these checkpoints and you are getting these questions answered. Because when it stays in your mind, one, it's taking up real estate. It is taking up valuable real estate in your mind, and you need to get that out of there. One, there's a lot of prep and education and planning and information that we are consuming constantly, like throughout our pregnancy journey. But when you can take this question, get this answer or get this information and be like, okay, got it, right? Whether you're making that decision right then or that's something that's going to come down the line, you just freed up some valuable real estate up there. You don't need all of those things, all of those questions, all of those worries, all of those concerns, whatever it is. You don't need that all floating around up there because it's going to impact your energy. It's going to create more stress, more overwhelm. And when we can get those questions answered, it's going to help you feel calmer and more confident and feel prepped for whatever the next phase of your pregnancy is, whether you have a test coming up, right? Or you have a scan that's coming up, or you are near the end of your pregnancy and you're going to be making your decisions, whether that's where you're delivering or what type of birth experience that you're looking for. I want you to always think about your birth preparation and your planning as to something that is happening throughout your pregnancy experience. I know that this is a little bit more not the norm, but I believe that birth preparation starts when you're pregnant. I believe that planning starts when you're pregnant, because while we are pregnant for 9-10 months, there's so many decisions and things that are happening in that 9 to 10 months. Why are we saving this all for the last 1 month, 2 months, 3 months? Like, take ownership of your journey prepare for your prenatal visits, establish that connection and that communication with your provider. Again, whether it's OB or midwife, because when you start that journey early, you start to realize, is this provider aligned for me or not? Are they down for whatever my birth desires and my wishes are or not? Why are we waiting to the end to then be like, okay, hey, this is kind of what I'm thinking, or what questions I have, to then realize, you know what, maybe I do need to have different sort of support. Maybe I do need to be planning differently. And this is going to naturally lead into doing a birth plan. Not everybody agrees with me this. I've literally done an entire podcast episode last season dedicated to why doing a birth plan matters, but they go hand in hand with preparing for your prenatal visits. It is very much, I think, because of the word plan, thought of that we would do a birth plan right at the end, right? We're checking boxes and filling out things and typing up something. And we're like, okay, here hospital, here birth center, here is my birth plan. But I really want you to think about your birth plan as a communication tool, something that you're using throughout your pregnancy when you're having these visits. Some information you're naturally going to know right away and upfront, and some of it is going to be something that you are taking in information and you're kind of weighing pros and cons on different things, and you're educating yourself so that you can then make decisions that are self-aligned for you. But when you're kind of using your birth plan, which I have a birth plan template and guide, because I think that's oftentimes where we get hung up on birth planning, is it's overwhelming. It feels like a daunting task. But if it's something that you think of as, I used to work in my prior career life, I was in production. I was in apparel production, and it was very detailed. And we would have WIPs, WIPs, work in progresses. And that's how I've thought about birth plans. It's a work in progress. It's something that it's not concrete. It's not something that you're having a test on, but it's for you. It's a communication tool. It's something to use with your provider. It's something to use as you're taking control of your journey. And those things can work really hand in hand when you're preparing for prenatal visits, to be like, okay, where am I kind of at? What questions do I have? Because things come up for you. Now, if you have it as in your WIP, right? You have it in your work in progress birth plan, and you're prepping for a prenatal visit. You're like, okay, well, here's the one question that I have, the 3 questions, the 5 questions that I have that I want to go over with my provider. And, again, whether you have an OB and you don't have a ton of time with them, there may be some stuff they're like, okay, great, let's answer and talk about this now. Let's save this one for the next visit, which sometimes is okay and sometimes is not. You have to be the decider of what type of support you feel like you're receiving from your provider that you're going to see. Only you know if you feel validated and heard and seen and respected, and you're feeling like they're with you on this journey. Only you can make that decision. But using your prenatal prep and your birth plan together is just going to allow you to feel that you're in the driver's seat. You're not just a number in the system, and you're making decisions along the way that are self-aligned. And I say self-aligned decisions all the time. If you've come across any of my pregnancy, my prenatal content, it's all about making self-aligned decisions, because oftentimes we're not making self-aligned decisions. We're making decisions out of fear. We're making decisions because that's just what you do, or this is just the standard. This is the norm. We do birth prep differently over here. Only you know what is self-aligned for you, because only you have gone within to decide what you want for your pregnancy and your birth experience. It doesn't always mean that we're going to get, all of the things that we're looking for, but you damn sure can prep for it. You damn sure can educate yourself. You damn sure can make sure that you have a good care team that's supporting you, and you're really taking control of this journey. That is within our control. Whether you have unlimited resources or more limited resources, this is still your journey, and I want you to know that I ride for you and your choices. So let this be your reminder. Let this be your little gift today, that whenever that next prenatal visit is, I want you to think about it differently. I want to make sure that you're preparing, you're going within to be like, how have I been feeling lately? What questions do I have? And generally, when you're having a checkup with an OB versus a midwife, there's not always going to be the mental health checks, right? How are you really feeling? I had OB care the first time around and midwife care the second time around. I literally felt like my checkups, my prenatal visits with my midwives were therapy sessions. Not only was I there anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour, but I was in that space where I felt like I could dive into, I've been dealing with a lot of pregnancy anxiety and panic attacks lately, and this is new for me, and how do I navigate this? Or I'm having these pains, and okay, now we're talking about, seeing a chiropractor. Sometimes those conversations are much more expansive and in-depth when you're on the midwife side versus the OB side, but not always. So just really go within, ask yourself, yourself, how am I feeling? What questions are coming up for me? Get them into some note form, whether you're somebody who needs to put pen to paper or you just keep running notes in your phone or an app. So you're stepping into that appointment prepared. And to wrap this up, this isn't about controlling from a place of fear and limit and controlling because we're scared of the journey. This sort of preparation and taking control is so that you can really put your focus and your energy where it matters most for you and your baby, and shifting into more calm and confidence versus stress and overwhelm and fear. That's really what this is all about. So I'm going to see if I can get the prenatal visit form linked so that you can download it into this episode, and also get linked the birth plan template and guide. If you need help with that, there's literally oodles of birth plan templates that you can, Google and download for free, or, go on Pinterest, whatever it is. I put together a birth plan template and guide so that you can get started, understand what you're using it for, what happens when you get stuck, and really pull together a really comprehensive list of all the birth preparation. So if you need any help with that, I'll see if I can get that linked in the show notes. And as always, reach out on socials if you have questions, if this touched you in any way, if you have any recommendations for podcast episodes or topics that you would love to hear about, please don't hesitate to connect with me on socials. I love hearing from you. I actually had spoken with somebody recently and I was like, oh my God, I met somebody in the wild who tunes into the podcast, and, it found it impactful in some way. So it really does mean a lot to me, because I'm literally sitting in my room right now talking to myself. So I'm sending you so much love for your pregnancy, your experience, your journey, your preparation to meeting your baby. And I hope that this episode was helpful and just kind of shifting and just reminding you that this is your journey and your baby and will be your birth. So until the next episode, lots of love. Whether you're a tired mom struggling with your little one's sleep, or an expecting mom looking for empowerment and advocacy as you prepare for birth, I'm here to show up for you with proven strategies and education to elevate your journey. You deserve to feel heard and given the tools to have success. Mama, you do not have to navigate your pregnancy or sleep struggles alone. Head over to empoweredwithann.com to discover how we can support you. Confidence, empowerment, and peace are just a click away.